Hey guys, my name's Seth. I'm going to show you a pattern that I've been using last year for smallmouth and fell in love with it. And I made some improvements to it this year, and I'm excited to be able to use it. It's a popper. So you go to Flyman Fishing, they sell these howitzer popper heads, and so I'll run you through the materials. Okay, so your surface seducer, all right, howitzer popper. These are mediums. I tie it on the partridge Attitude Extra 2-aught. Those howitzer popper heads use 6mm eyes. I'm using some marabou, just some white marabou on the back, and I actually ran out of marabou, so I'm just going to be stealing some marabou off of some of the schlappen stuff here. Regular crystal flash. The cool thing is you can accent it with multiple colors, so I've done some in some pink or purples. I've also done them in blues and greens as well. I've found that the best thing that I've had that's been the most consistent is some of the greens with a little bit of just the regular white. It's cool because depending on the angle that you hold this stuff at, it changes and kind of gets some really cool light refraction. Anyways, then this is an articulated pattern. So what happens also is that I'm using some Palmer Chenille small pearl on that, and it's articulated, and I found that I like these Senu's articulated shanks for steelhead and salmon flies, which is kind of interesting. But the reason why I like them is because that hook eye is up on the articulation. And so what happens is when you tie these and you get finished, the way that eye is on there is it is up. Okay, and what I like about that is that it pulls that head down into the water. So I'm going to go ahead and whip this together real quick. The other thing that I'm going to use is some Mylar. I do a reverse tie with some Mylar, so you can get that on there. So anyways, I'm going to go ahead and whip this thing together for you real quick. You can either use just regular long marabou on the back. I just ordered some barred marabou, which I'm looking forward to. Otherwise, like what I'm going to do right now, I'm just going to trim some stuff up and throw it on the back for the tail. All I want is enough so that it just kicks a little bit as part of that articulation. So I'm going to go ahead and just throw a couple pieces back there. I'm actually going to use the schlappen section because I'm out of marabou right now, but normally I would tie in just a loose piece of marabou on that back section with some flash. But I'll do it a little bit differently right now just because I'm lacking supplies. Try to make this video as quick as I can for you, as I know you guys got other things that you're going to want to get to today. Get it in there. I don't get carried away with the amount of flash that I use, just because a lot of this on a surface lure, I'm literally just trying to, if they're going to look at it a little bit longer, I just kind of want to use it to entice them. Usually they're coming at a surface lure, I think, more because of the disturbance that it's making on the surface. I've had a lot of people explain that it's actually better to use a dark lure on the surface rather than a light lure because it silhouettes against the water. When the fish is looking up and it sees the sky, they want a darker lure. So like when I'm tying musky flies and stuff, a lot of my surface lures, my surface flies are darker in color. And I think the principle, at least it might be just a matter of opinion, but it's that musky or that predator fish sees the white silhouette, or the dark silhouette, and then we'll hit it. It's more apt to hit that. Not positive, but what I do know is that this lighter pattern for me has yielded the best results on the lakes that I fish. I've honestly, like, I've tied this same exact lure in darker colors on a day that I'm slamming smallies, and have like gone from hitting a fish every few minutes to absolutely nothing, and then gone back to the white and then hit fish again. So that's enough to sell me on it. I've even used these on a windy day in the middle of chop. Okay, so if you see here, I've got this marabou. I'm literally just like going over the top of this. I'm gonna do a couple wraps and put that in. Okay, and then I'm literally just gonna fold the rest of this back and go over the top of that, and I'm done. That's all that is. It's just to give it a little bit of body. Coming in there. That's the first part. It's done. Okay. That right there is what you're getting for just the beginning of that fly. All right. Taking my articulated shank, clipping it on there. Thread wraps. Okay, so one of the things that I do right away is I grab those popper heads and I take one and I just grab my leg puller and I throw a hole in it all the way back. I try to make it as centered as possible, otherwise you're going to get this thing pulling and it's going to be cockeyed. Just kind of ream it out a little bit. That's all I do there. When I put this thing on, all I'm doing right now is I'm just trying to get a feel for where that's going to land and where I want that hook eye to end, and so where I'm going to tie that in. And it's literally, like, I kind of just eyeballed it, but it's coming to where this articulated shank, the back little stem, stops. So that's there. I've got that in mind. Just to wrap this thing up again, all I'm doing to start off is I'm going to do another reverse tie of this mylar right in here. Okay, fray that out, send it back, just build a little thread in. That's just to cover up your articulation. Okay, so those bodies are going to go together like that. All right, then because I'm out of like decent marabou, all I'm doing is I'm grabbing some of this, and just so you can see what's going on here, I'm literally just ripping some of this off because I don't need like a huge long piece. And what I've done on a couple of these flies is I tie them in on each side almost so that they look like gills. Trick that I learned from a few other tyers. Gunnar Bremer, big huge inspiration to me. He takes and he'll wrap that mylar all the way up that shank when he's going to put a popper head on, because when he puts his glue on, it gives that popper head something to adhere to. So there's that. I'm just going to do one more on the other side with some marabou. Okay, just like this. Just like that. Okay, now I'm going to grab just a little bit more flash. Come in here, send that back, wrap that in, come up, whip finish. Okay, so you can see once you get efficient at tying this, that it can go really quick. If I wasn't trying to explain all these things, this video wouldn't end up being that long. I used to tie these on a single shank. The reason why I don't tie these on a single shank anymore is because I felt like the fish got a little bit of leverage when they'd fight. I wouldn't lose a lot of them, but what would happen is sometimes they'd strike and I'd miss, you know, and that happens from time to time when you're fishing. You get a strike and you miss. Either they came up at it wrong or something. But what I wanted to do is, by doing the articulation, I was able to, I believe that I was able to get that back part kind of hangs down in the water a little bit, and that gave me the ability to get a better hook set and a little bit better presentation on that. So this is pretty much it. I don't have a name for it yet. I haven't gotten too far into naming flies on my own because there's so many more people on the world that do it better than I do. But I really like this pattern, and let's see if I can get this to adjust. This is really, really cool colors here. My iPad's not gonna do this justice, but basically what happens is that's kind of a pearl pink color in the back, and then this this pearl from that pearl mylar cord comes out, and that basically sits in the water just like that. It'll also walk when you're bringing that in, but that's a killer topwater smallmouth fly that I've got for you guys right there. So thanks for watching.